Hey, welcome to Arresting Knowledge. We're here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania at PhillyCam. I want to thank each and every one of you for coming into this cold room to talk about a very hot topic. We are gathered here today in an unusual circumstance. There are no experts in this room, but there are brilliant people in this room. And what I mean by that is we are at a time when there are strange things going on. There's a confluence of forces that are making us feel very unstable about how to access knowledge comfortably right now. Specifically, we've got digital mashing into information. So someone could say one thing across the globe and it can come to you very quickly. And in that state, many of us are feeling very frustrated about knowing the credibility of that information. My organization is Artists for Literacy. We were founded 17 years ago to specifically focus on literacy, but adult literacy. So we didn't go into schools K through 12. We work with adults who wanted to improve their reading skills throughout their life in reference to lifelong learning. So back then, I was really watching what happens when someone is reaching for knowledge and when they get it. It's so amazing when someone is trying to learn how to read and then they have that turning point. It's just delicious. And since that time, I've been very committed to understanding how we all engage with information. And it's taken me a very long time to understand what this news cycle is about, what this media frenzy is about in relation to what basic literacy is about. And there's a real important connection that we're going to cover tonight. But what's most important about our gathering is it represents a hope that I have, that we don't look outwards for hope and vision and understanding, that we look towards each other. And I've been saying lately that face-to-face is going to save our human race. The more I learn about technology, the more I worry in the sense of communication around the world. NPR did a story last week talking about how video has caught up to audio in terms of the fact that they used to be able to just copy your voice and put words in your voice and people would think that you're saying that even though you didn't. Now they can take video and do the same thing. So they could take your voice and your face and match it, and a very powerful person in our world could be seen on video saying something that he did not say. So people will raise their hands up and go, what do we do? How do we move into a place of confidence when we know that there are ill-meaning people out there who are ready and waiting to create information that's just not real? So Arresting Knowledge's goal is to gather people in community, look at some basic media literacy skills, but I want to preface that by saying that at the end of this evening, I'm going to hand all of you this handout that has basic media literacy skills on it, so you don't need to take any notes. You don't need to figure out all this in 90 minutes. That's not anything any of us would enjoy. So take a breath about that. It's all on here, and I'll give it to you before I leave. What's important to do today for me is sort of take a temperature reading of how we are feeling right now in terms of our connection to knowledge and our connection to knowing what's important for us to know about, as opposed to the general information that's out there. What I mean that is specifically when we have to make a choice on how to vote or how to spend our money, what do we base that on? So we're going to look at ways that we can mitigate some of the frustration we're having, and then perhaps at the end of these 90 minutes, after about 4 exercises, we can really debrief and reflect and talk about how can we as a community get out there and do what we just did today in smaller groups. We're doing 6 more dates on the East Coast, and then I don't know how many more dates I could do without general funding, but I'm doing this from the goodness of my heart, and I hope one day we'll be able to do this in adult communities. I'm committed to adult learning specifically. Media literacy has been around for 30 years in the high school and college level, but the good adults of the world aren't in school, so how are they going to find out all this great stuff? So I'm committed to communities getting together and focusing on that. And in the spirit of that, the first thing I want to do is introduce our wonderful panel that came to represent. They're not here as experts, they're here to represent. So don't feel pressurized. I might ask you to wear her shoes in a few minutes, but don't worry about that. I just want people to know a little bit about you and almost not tell us any bio or anything like that, because if you like these general people, just go online and find out. But for right now, I just want you to say your name and some of the thoughts you have about coming here tonight.
My name is Daphne View, kind of weird spelling, the last name I'm Haitian, so it's V-I-E-X. I am here because I am passionate about media. Everything I do is media. PhillyCam is also my home. Project STEAM TV is also an organization I have. Not going into that, but So I'm just excited about knowing what to do in order, as you say, in order to know how to move forward with what we're hearing and what we're reading and its credibility.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm David Brown. I'm here because I want to learn more about how people learn about media literacy, but also I've been very involved in that area as a teacher, as a pastor, as a practitioner, so I'm really looking forward to learn as much as I hope to be able to share.
I'm Ellen Reynolds, and I'm just concerned about this onslaught of information that is very hard to know if it's true, if it's helpful, or if it is intentionally confusing, and if it's propaganda. And I don't always know myself, can I believe what I'm reading? And I talk to other people and I know they feel the same way. And so I thought this might be a very nice opportunity to come together and talk with one another about just our thoughts and how are we going to figure this out and how are we going to pull ourselves out of this. I think there's manipulation involved and I'm a little worried about it. So how are we going to protect ourselves? And that's why I'm here.
My name is Stormy Kelsey. I am here because I want to learn more about media literacy so that I can better teach media and create media.
In terms of the potential for things to be really scary out there, I want to just say one thing that comes to mind about what if there's so much of there's great proliferation and there's fake news raining down from the heavens. What are we going to do about it? How can we stop it? So the idea is not to think about stopping the ill-meaning people that are creating misinformation. The idea is like the guy who invented the umbrella. He wasn't there to stop the rain. He was there to figure out a way to protect us from what was pelting down on us. So that's a good visual that we can use today. The other visual I want to just discuss for me as a sort of an educator is that I grew up in the Jersey Shore near Asbury Park, and my father was a physicist. And my life was tethered to his way of seeing the world as a physicist. So when we ice skated, I learned about centrifugal force. When we sailed, I learned about how the wind and the moon worked and how friction worked. And I was very comforted by the laws of physics. And I want to be comforted again in these times. And he's not here with me, so I'm here to comfort us that there are some ways we can handle this. Because believe it or not, there's no way to stop fake information, fake news, propaganda, whether or not you're trying to buy a diet pill or a car or vote for a politician. There's always going to be misinformation. So how do we deal with that? It's about healthy skepticism and not cynicism. So let's first define media, because media is a word that's been flying around. What is media? Let's talk about media, not the media, because we're putting way too much pressure on the media. So to do this, I want to do a visual thing, because I'm a visual learner, so a lot of the work we're going to do tonight is visual. I wanted to ask our panelists each to wear one of these name tags, and we're going to do what I call a human infographic. I'm going to give one to you. I'm going to give one to you. And just put them around your bodies. So I'm going to break down media right now, just for argument's sake, into entertainment, advertising, news, and social. So if you guys can stand in front of the table, just next to each other. There's no wrong answer, by the way. What I'm trying to figure out here is give us a visual of the relationship between entertainment, advertising, social, and news. Now, shout it out, get messy. We've had all sorts of configurations. I just want to have a visual representation of who's connected to who's beholden who's controlling who's subjugating to who. Let's go. Let's get some shout outs. Where should they go? Where should they move to? They're certainly not on the line. Let me just say that right off. That's definitely a misrepresentation visually.
Feels like social should be closer to news and in between news and entertainment.
Yeah. Okay, social. You got to have marching orders.
News and entertainment. Okay.
And you can also move them up and down. You could put their arms. You could do a lot. The body's an amazing thing.
Advertising definitely needs to be
The last. You can say it like
now
that.
remember, we're also going back and forth and up and down and east and west. So we can do all sorts of directions.
Okay.
I think social.
I think social be first.
Social be first?
I think, yeah.
What's anything about, you want to use arms and legs? You want to just have someone put their arm around someone to show that they're really
News and entertainment.
news and entertainment? Okay. So let's,
Come on.
oh,
Come
so
on.
I'm gonna have. Should she kneel or should she be around the back of them? Should social be around them?
They should both touch her on the shoulder.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. There you go.
Yes, that's perfect.
Okay. And then where's our lovely
Left out.
advertisers? How are they? How are they?
Walk around.
All right, we got movement. We got movement.
Around them all.
That's
Wow. Okay. Okay.
That's
They just
awesome.
keep going the
Step
other
up.
side.
Maybe
Oh,
we
that's
should
oh.
kiss his ass.
And they made room for advertising. Look at that.
That's right. So what we just created here is a reminder that everything comes down to money, right? Money controls a lot. It controls how news is projected out into the screen. It controls how advertising works. It controls how entertainment works. Everything is around the follow the money, follow the money. Any other configurations that turn people on that you think we're missing in this representation?
I think you could put news in front because of all the events that are going on. News is taking a lot of our attention.
That's interesting. So news that get in front of social, and maybe your guys are going to be more. I'd like to experiment.
Are we still
I would like to
connected, or-
experiment for a second, and I would like to have social.
You see my shoes,
It's wobbly. Okay, go behind them. Go behind them. Put your arms around all of them.
Okay.
Because everything can be socialized, right? Entertainment, advertising, news. We can just share it on our phone in 2 seconds. So that's an interesting idea to think about. So what's important about this exercise for all of us is to know that media comes at us with the same information from different venues, from different avenues. So we all know that if a news anchor woman is really boring, she's going to get booted off at some point. Or if she's reporting on stuff that the guys upstairs saying that their advertisers don't want you to report on that, they don't report on that. This is why we have to understand that the big conglomerations that are creating news for us are beholden to a lot of complex ecosystems. It's just to be aware. It's not to go into a closet and bang your head against the wall. It's just to say, wow, that's a really important point. Can they cover this if their stakeholders and their advertisers don't want you to talk about it? Okay? So give a hand to our panelists.
Media is the most powerful institution existing today, not only in American society, but across the world. It shapes beliefs, attitudes, worldviews, political opinions. What's important is that you understand what it's doing and why it's doing it and the influence it has on you. That's called media literacy. Project STEAM TV is your connection to media literacy. If you don't know what's being presented to you, you don't know what it's doing to you. Education is empowerment. Media literacy is empowerment. We have to, at some point, realize that what's coming into us, the images, all the different kinds of media that we consume, particularly our young people, it's shaping what they believe and how they behave. Some of it's good, some of it's bad. You have to make your own decision, but you can't if you're media illiterate. Project STEAM TV is about media literacy. Get down with it like I did. Dr. Chuck Williams on Twitter, Dr. Chuck TV at Instagram, Chuck Williams at Facebook, or just Google Dr. Chuck Williams. I got a couple pages.
Can I ask you guys a question as participants in the audience? When I asked you to think about the order or the relationship between news, advertising, entertainment, and social media, I'm curious, what was the hiccup for you? What was keeping you from shouting out and being so clear? What wasn't clear? Hold on, I'm coming to you.
Part of it is because so often news is entertainment. They treat it that way, so, you know, and so you don't necessarily get the drama of it as much as you get. It's to get you to read what the situation is about more.
So that you saw such a meld between news and entertainment that you couldn't even. How do you meld those two together, right?
Take it seriously. Yeah.
I was thinking how much social generates everything. It tells us what's going to be on the news. It tells us what's going to be advertised. It tells us what's going to be entertainment. So it's almost like social could have come forward to encompass everything. how important social is.
What's interesting is that when interviewed, you hear a lot of young people specifically saying that they get their news from their social feeds. So that's crazy, even though some of the news might be native to where they click into, but it can be commented on so many times that they might read the comments before they read what's actually going on in the news.
For me, I had to think about it because it depends on what day it is. If Korea does something, I'm going to watch the news. If the president tweets something, I'm going to social media. If it's an awards ceremony, I'm going to entertainment. So it depends on what day it is, what order or priority they take on it.
That's right. Yeah, one more thing.
Don't you feel that most of the news stations now, though, encourage use of social media to track them? So it almost as if they have given up the whole idea of being professional news makers, and they've given in to the whole pressure of the social media. You know, everybody's always, you know, at the bottom of everything, you know, hashtag this and tweet this and Facebook this and Twitter this, you know what I mean? On every news station, when you look them up on the computer, they all have those same little pictures.
That's exactly right. The impetus to become socialized, it helps them with their advertising dollars. If they've got 1 million people liking them or tweeting about them with their hashtag, then that's a really good thing for them. So, you know, then we're looking at a decay of credibility there too on some levels.
Hi everyone, my name is Sybil Celeste. I just want to say, the first thing that I thought was social media, like social. I feel like it's like this driven power that like everybody is on. And I know I'm a millennial. And I know like my mother, she still watches the news on television, but there's so much stuff that's going on, you know, between those hours of watching at 6 o'clock and or 11 o'clock. So most of the time we get the news on social media because like a lot of people are on social media, but I feel like, I know I'm gonna be crazy of saying this, but I feel like everybody's an anchor nowadays. Everybody's an anchor and wants to tell the news and have their opinion and have their comments. So, you know, I mean, professionalism, of course, that's where we want to go. However, because of social media, that has given people a platform to talk and to be their own anchor and to be whatever they want. So regardless if it's fake news, real news, it's getting out there and people are doing them.
And her comment is so provocative to me because I find you articulate, I find you forward-thinking and commanding. I could see you being a beautiful anchor, and the question is, what's the difference between trained journalism and citizen journalism? You know, and we are at a crossroads here, and I'm not sure where we're going, but your comment is well taken because there's a lot of people who don't trust anybody on television. One more comment here.
When I was growing up, if you knowingly said something that was untrue, there were consequences. And laws were just recently passed, and I was really upset to find out that it's no longer illegal to say something you know is untrue.
Where were those laws passed, in a state or federal level?
I'll look into that, but I don't.
The legal system is up on end right now around all these issues because, you know, the libel issues, you know, scandals, this and that. But let's just summarize this by saying that we're in, you know, I'm not saying dystopian times because I have a lot of hope about this kind of future. This is our future. Face to face, to just, you know, turn it off and get back to trusting people that you know and know their history and who they are and their moral compass. But it's a very dynamic conversation just about these 4 things. And the takeaway for me is that being aware of this is enough. And not enough, but everybody in this room now, this visual is going to be in your head for a long time. And that's where we have progress, where you don't feel victimized by it, but you say, you know, I know that they're all connected in very unfortunate ways. When we consider media in the marketing space, I spent the last 25 years to make a living. I'm a marketing writer, so I am in a really interesting position to do this work because I sit around a table and I hear from my clients that I need to frame something in a very specific way so that I reach the pain point of my customer. And I sat there shaking my head for a lot. You know, I sit there thinking, wow, this is really not particularly true about this product, but we're really catering it towards that person. Now, framing is one of the most important things we could teach the public because it is the #1 problem I think we have in the political system is some political parties are able to frame things in a way that really obfuscate the truth. You know, I mean, it's really, it gets to a point where you talk about lying, and framing could be absolute lies of omission or outright lying. And what is the consequence? The consequence is a intelligent base that starts rising up and saying there is consequences to that. So for the second activity I want to do is something that will help us understand where we're all coming from individually, and it's called Who Are You? And the way it works is everyone's got a postcard on their chairs, and I'm going to do it to David. So David?
Yes.
I'm going to ask you 5 times a question. Now, you can't use an adjective.
Okay.
You can't use your name.
Okay.
You've got to use a noun. Give me 5 nouns. I'm going to ask this 5 times.
Okay.
Who are you?
Father.
Great. Who are you?
Husband.
Who are you?
Pastor.
Who are you?
Professor.
One more time. Who are you?
Practitioner.
Practitioner. Okay. I want everyone to find an elbow partner, and you'll switch after that person's done and ask that person 5 times, who are you? And then I'm going to collect your, anonymously, I'm going to collect your index cards. So it'll take about a few minutes. Thank you.
But I also
It's harder than you think, isn't it?
Citations are wonderful documents because they celebrate, lift up major milestones, celebrate and lift up some remarkable experience that's happening. Project STEAM is remarkable. This is a first, so it's a milestone, and we're going to be supported for the long term.
And I'll take your cards when you're done.
Yeah. That's a good point. Do you feel a little change? Would you see that?
I was thinking, because, well, first of all, I had to set up.
I guess this is.
Okay. Now, I get to the 5th one, right? But then I was thinking that,
That's an adjective.
Yeah.
I know, it's 10.
Yeah.
right? So I'm thinking,
Any word you can put the.
so, no. So I'm and I don't know when my chest is. I am actually. And I can't answer because I know what I wrote, what you said, you can't answer. Well, anybody can answer what me, but I think that's so what do you see? Right? But I might have seen sisters. Right?
So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to shuffle them. And I'm going to just have each of you just take one. Just, if it's yours, tell me. Yeah. I love this. You can just kind of
That's a noun.
let's do this quickly.
Well, this is mine.
Oh no, that is crazy.
What did you answer?
Here you go.
Someone to go.
It
Yeah.
was so powerfully used. Sorry. Who's missing?
Anderson.
You're still working on yours, huh?
I'm bad. I just graduated. I still don't know what I'm doing. I still don't know from my nail from edges to the front. Yeah.
So this process is really to show a couple of things about the power of the marketing world. The 5 nouns that we all wrote down are consciously or subconsciously how we surf the web. Let's go internet for a second. We create like a real big track, like as if we're cross-country skiers, and we create a big footprint as we search for things based on who we are. And the algorithms that we create that are collected help create sort of this cone around us, this bias machine, this echo chamber. And in media literacy classes around the country, sometimes they ask students to open up their browsers to a certain news page, and they notice that they have different news at different levels in terms of priority. You're fed different things based on who you are. So to extrapolate this out into the world, how horrible is it that there are people in our country that don't learn about what's going on because all they learn about is what they want to know what's going on. So it's where bias really hurts us is where we are biased towards certain things, which we're allowed to love certain things. If I'm a fisherman, I want to spend a lot of time watching anglers throw that thing in the water. But there's a place where we're asking ourselves, how do we get people interested in learning about other people so they can have more compassion? It's hard. This exercise helps me. When I look at this, it says father, husband, educator, tech professional, traveler. So if I took 15 minutes every day, even 5 minutes every day, and I went online pretending I was this person, my world would open up. It would open up. I mean, profoundly open up. Profoundly. So one of the challenges that we have right now is if we think we're being framed by our personal algorithms, we need to understand what that feels like. So I'm going to ask Storm, me, Storm, me, to read out who you are in a loud voice.
Camera operator, networker, floor manager, driver, a mind your business person.
Okay, so let's repeat that. Camera operator.
Camera operator, networker, floor manager, driver, a mind your business person.
Okay. So now Daphne is going to wear this frame.
Oh, okay.
And Daphne, you're going to sell this person something. You can either sell her a proposition you're fighting for, you could sell her a car, you could sell her a cold medicine, I don't care. Think about it for a second. What do you want to sell this person? And show us in a minute, spontaneously. You gotta sell it through the frame. You gotta look through the frame.
Oh.
You got absolutely. You're gonna sell her based on who you know, what she loves. Do you want her card so you can really look at it, or you good with it?
No, I'm good.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, so I have this really great TV studio that you need to buy because it looks like you're really into media and you do floor managing, you do camera operating, looks like it's all about media, looks like you're gonna watch it whether you want to or not because you love this thing, but I need $5 million for you to buy it. But you're gonna be able to be a camera operator and you're going to be able to be a floor manager since it looks like that, it sounds like that's what you like. I just need $5 million and the TV studio is yours. Buy today, right now, right this instant.
$5 million, that's a little steep, and I'm already a camera operator and a floor manager, so I think
you
I'm
can't talk
happy
to television. That was great though. Let's debrief that just a little bit. What'd you do in that brief sell to her? What'd you do?
I went with what you do and tried to relate and try to get you to buy something that I think you